Okay, real talk for a second. We have sent probes to the edge of the solar system. We have mapped the craters on the backside of the moon. We have landed robots on Mars and driven them around like remote control cars. But our own ocean? The thing that covers 71% of the planet we actually live on? We have explored less than 20% of it. Think about what that means. Right now, as you watch this, there are places at the bottom of the ocean that no human eye has ever seen. And the small percentage we have explored, it keeps producing things that make scientists stop and go, wait, that's not supposed to be possible. Underwater lakes that kill on contact. A sound louder than any animal alive that we still can't fully explain. A city built by chemistry, with no architect, no sunlight, no life as we understand it, standing 60 meters tall on the ocean floor. I'm counting down 6 of the strangest deep ocean mysteries ever discovered. And I'm going to be honest with you, number 1 isn't just strange. It's the kind of thing that makes you wonder what else is down there that we haven't found yet. Stay with me. Let's go. All right, I need you to picture something. You're in a submarine 3,000 feet below the surface of the Gulf of Mexico. Your lights hit the seafloor, and right in front of you, you see a shoreline, a beach, waves lapping against an edge. Except you're already underwater. This is a brine pool, and yes, they are completely real. Because of extreme salt concentrations and dissolved methane, this water becomes so dense it literally doesn't mix with the ocean around it. It just sits there with its own surface, its own currents, its own waves, a lake inside the ocean. And here's what makes it terrifying. Almost anything that swims into one dies within minutes. Scientists have found crabs and fish frozen at the edges, not decomposed, not eaten, just stopped, perfectly preserved, like something hit a pause button on them the moment they crossed in. Now, here's the part that flips everything. Researchers found microbial life thriving inside these death pools, organisms so unusual, so unlike anything on the surface, that astrobiologists are now studying them to understand how life might survive on Jupiter's ocean moon, Europa. A lake that kills everything we know might hold the key to finding life somewhere else entirely. And that's just number 6. Don't go anywhere, because number 5 is something that sailors reported for centuries. Scientists called them crazy for it, and then a satellite proved every single one of them right. For hundreds of years, sailors crossing the Indian Ocean at night reported the same thing. The ocean just started glowing. Not flickers, not patches, a steady, eerie blue-white light in every direction as far as they could see, for hours at a time. Sailors called it the Milky Sea. Scientists called it folklore. Then, in 2005, a satellite captured it on camera, a glowing mass of ocean, completely continuous, roughly the size of the state of Connecticut, emitting bioluminescent light, bright enough to register on space-based sensors. The cause? Trillions of bioluminescent bacteria called Vibrio harveyi, blooming together in a single connected mass on the ocean surface. But here's what nobody has explained. What triggers a bloom that enormous? Why only in specific patches of the Indian Ocean? And why can decades pass with no sightings at all, and then it suddenly reappears? We still don't know. Right now, tonight, as you watch this, there is a non-zero chance that somewhere on Earth an entire stretch of ocean is glowing in the dark. And unless a satellite happens to be pointed at it at the right moment, nobody will know it happened. But if that unsettles you a little, wait until number 4, because this one isn't about something strange happening in the ocean, it's about something down there that learned how to farm. In 2005, a research team exploring hydrothermal vents in the South Pacific Ocean found something nobody had a name for: a pale, blind, furry crab, about the size of your hand, covered head to claw in thick white bristles. They called it the Yeti Crab, officially Kiwa hirsuta. But it wasn't the crab itself that broke people's brains, it was what its relatives were doing. A closely related species, Kiwa puravida, discovered off the coast of Costa Rica, farms bacteria. Literally. It positions itself near warm hydrothermal vent water, waves its bristled claws slowly and rhythmically to control temperature and flow, cultivates a specific crop of bacteria on its own body, and then uses tiny combs near its mouth to harvest and eat them. That is not instinct. That is a process. A repeatable, deliberate, multi-step process for producing food in total darkness at the bottom of the ocean with no sunlight, no soil, no tools. We didn't think crustaceans could do that. We barely thought animals without complex brains could do that. So the obvious question becomes, if this evolved in the dark, at crushing depths, in conditions we once wrote off as too extreme for anything interesting to survive in, what else has the deep ocean figured out that we haven't seen yet? That question gets a lot more uncomfortable at number 3, because number 3 is a sound. The loudest unidentified sound ever recorded in any ocean anywhere on Earth. And the explanation we were given? Not everyone believes it. 1997 NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, is running a network of underwater microphones originally built to track Soviet submarines. On the 19th of May, those sensors pick up something, an ultra-low frequency sound, powerful enough to be detected by multiple sensors stationed over 5,000 kilometers apart, lasting just under a minute, and louder in terms of raw amplitude than any known living creature on Earth, including the blue whale, the loudest animal we know of. The sound had an organic profile, meaning it had the acoustic characteristics of something biological, not a volcanic eruption, not an earthquake, not a man-made machine. Something alive. They called it the Bloop. For 15 years it had no explanation. Then, in 2012, NOAA suggested a cause: large-scale ice quakes. When massive Antarctic ice shelves fracture and grind, can, under certain conditions, produce sounds with a biological acoustic signature. Okay, fine. Except, here's the thing, that original signal has never been exactly replicated by a confirmed ice quake. The waveform match isn't clean, and a number of acoustics researchers still think the ice quake explanation is a reasonable theory, not a proven one. The Bloop is officially solved, but solved with an asterisk. And the ocean has 36,000-foot trenches we've barely touched. Speaking of which, number 2 is about a place that's been standing on the ocean floor for tens of thousands of years. A field of white towers, some taller than a 6-story building, built with zero volcanic activity and zero sunlight. And it might be our best clue yet for finding life on another world. The year is 2000. A research team from the University of Washington is running sonar surveys in the Atlantic Ocean. Their equipment picks up something strange rising from the Atlantis Massif, an underwater mountain about 2,500 feet below the surface. They send a camera down, and what they see stops the whole team. A field of towering white spires, dozens of them. Some over 60 meters tall, taller than a 20-story building, white as bone, completely silent. They name it the Lost City. Now, every hydrothermal vent system we'd ever found before ran on volcanic heat. Magma beneath the crust heats the water, chemicals get spat out, weird life clusters around it. That's the known model. The Lost City runs on none of that. It's powered by a chemical reaction called serpentinization, where cold seawater seeps into ancient mantle rock and reacts with it. No magma, no volcano, just rock and water, reacting, producing heat and hydrogen and methane on their own, slowly, quietly, for, as the mineral dating shows, at least 30,000 years. Life there doesn't use sunlight, doesn't use photosynthesis, doesn't need a volcano. It runs entirely on chemistry. Here's why that matters beyond just being fascinating. Serpentinization can happen anywhere in the universe where liquid water contacts the right kind of rock. On Enceladus, one of Saturn's moons, spacecraft have detected evidence that this exact process may be happening right now under a thick shell of ice. If the Lost City can sustain a thriving ecosystem on nothing but a chemical reaction, then the question of whether life exists elsewhere in our solar system just got a lot more serious. Okay, we're at number 1, and I want to be upfront. This one hits differently, because the Mariana Trench isn't just strange. It's the place we assumed we fully understood. The deepest point on Earth. Too extreme for almost anything, and it turned out we were wrong on almost every assumption, including one discovery that is genuinely disturbing and one sound that still has no confirmed answer. The Mariana Trench, nearly 36,000 feet deep, the single deepest point on the surface of our entire planet. The pressure down there is over 1,000 times what you feel at sea level, enough to crush most submarines like an empty can. For decades, the scientific consensus was basically nothing complex lives down there. Too cold, too dark, too crushed. Then we actually looked. Cameras dropped to the bottom of the Challenger Deep, the very lowest point of the trench, found a living floor. Amphipods, small, shrimp-like crustaceans in huge numbers, sea cucumbers, polychaete worms, microbial mats covering the sediment like a carpet, life everywhere, dense, active, thriving. But then researchers looked more closely at those amphipods, and what they found inside them was genuinely shocking. PCBs, flame retardants, persistent organic pollutants, industrial chemicals that many countries banned decades ago because of how toxic they are, found in the bodies of creatures living at the most remote, most inaccessible point on Earth, at concentrations higher than what you'd find in heavily polluted coastal waters near industrial sites. The bottom of the ocean, the place we never touched, never reached, never even saw until recently, is already contaminated by us. That is not a mystery with a hopeful ending. That is a consequence. But here's the final thing. The thing I can't stop thinking about. In 2016, scientists lowered hydrophones into the Mariana Trench to record ambient sound. What came back was a low, repeating, moaning call. Biological in character, consistent, arriving at the same times each day, with the acoustic profile of a baleen whale. But no known whale species dives anywhere near those depths. No known whale produces calls at those specific frequencies. They named it the Western Pacific Biotwang. The leading hypothesis is that it's an unidentified or undocumented baleen whale population using the trench as a kind of natural amplifier. But no visual confirmation has ever been made. At the single most extreme point on our planet, the place we've studied more than almost any other deep location, something is calling out, regularly, every day. And we still don't know what it is. So, Here's where we are. We've got lakes that kill in minutes but might explain life on Jupiter's moons, an ocean that glows the size of a US state for reasons we still can't predict, a crab that invented farming in the dark, a sound louder than any animal alive that may or may not be explained, a 30,000-year-old city running on chemistry that could rewrite the search for alien life, and at the deepest point on Earth, a voice we cannot identify. And remember, that's all from less than 20% of the ocean. The other 80%? We haven't seen it. So, here's my question for you, and I actually want to know your answer. Drop it in the comments right now. What do you think is down in that other 80%? Something we'd recognize, or something that breaks every category we have? Because based on what that 20% has already given us, I genuinely think the most surprising answer isn't something terrifying, it's something we don't have a word for yet.